This is a full course on how to market your online course in 2026 from someone who has created 9 of them and was able to serve 7,000 students and now teaching the same thing to her clients. Hi, my name is Demi Bernice. You have clicked the right video if you have an online course or a coaching program that you would like to scale, especially in 2026 with all the AI booming competition, all the obstacles that one online course creator faces. Today, I'm going to break down to you step by step what I'm going to do if I am going to be starting all over again. So, without further ado, let us dive right in. The very first step that I would recommend that you do before you actually do anything, whether that is to market your online course, is validation. So it's super important that you are able to validate your course, because I have seen a lot of people, clients, students, people that I talk to in the streets that are online course creators, they would like to market their course right away, create it from scratch without even asking the people who would like to probably buy it if they are interested in it. Now, the thing with having a course that is not being validated is it's going to be super hard for you to be able to market it. So I have come across this one like multiple times now, where the online course creator has some sort of like an audience. They didn't do any sort of ask campaign. They didn't pre-sell their online course, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. They just wanted to create a course. They have a thought or a course idea in their head. They wanted to create it, and then boom, just have a VA and a marketing specialist just probably market the course to the best of their ability. Now, it could be possible if there is indeed a demand for that very course, but the industry is ever changing. So just like right now, it's not anymore like people are going to want to buy a course because they want more information. What they want right now is transformation. And when you have created an online course that is just all about information, like people can pick these information up in Chat GPT, regardless what your expertise, tenure, 25 years of existence, 35, 65, it doesn't matter, because that's not what they want from you right now. And so it's super important that you are able to validate your course. So how do we do that? Number one, what we can do is do this Russell Brunson way of doing it, which is the ask campaign. Now, that looks like an M. With Russell Brunson, what he wants you to do is have a sales page where you're going to ask them and then have a question here and fill in the blanks and then put that in front of a lot of people, right? So whether that is on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the socials. Now, this is the formal ask campaign, but what I teach my students is one thing that's super easy. So remember that we have the ability to be able to create stories, as in Facebook or IG stories. Now, what you want to do there is create a post. So let's just say you have created a post, and then from there, you're going to create either a poll with multiple options, A, B, C, or have a question wherein they can type in their answer. What are you going to put in these stories? What's the question that you're going to ask? Easy and simple. You're just going to tell them, hey, I'm planning to create an online course. What do you think you're going to want to learn from me? So that in itself is a question, right? And then with the poll, if you want to shape their answers and narrow down their options so that they would want to answer you, it's going to make it very easy for them to sort of like just press a radio button that they agree with, right? That is what polls are for. So with a poll, you can say, hey, I'm planning to create an online course about gardening. Do you want me to create a course about gardening, just flowers, or fertilizers, or grow hydroponic, etc., etc.? And then post that, and then you will be shocked what answers you're going to get. Because most especially if you have the poll, your mind is going to think, hey, I think the winning answer is going to be letter B because B sounds very, very cool. You will be surprised what your audience is going to ask of you. And so this one is super important. We will never know what exactly is a course that's going to sell unless we ask these people. Okay, so that is Ask Campaign. Another thing that you could do is just market research. So with market research, very easy and simple, especially nowadays, you can do Chat GPT, right? One thing that I'd still like to visit is askthepublic.com by Neil Patel. There's a free plan and there's a premium plan. So if you want more data and analytics, then you're going to have to pay him for some sort of like a subscription before you're able to view the data, which I think would be worth it just for a month, right? And then you just cancel right after if you don't think that it's going to be helpful for you. So ask the public, right? And then you can also just ask people on FB groups, ask PPL on FB GRPs, like the millennial that I am. So that's also another option. This is also what I recommend to my students because this is the easiest, right? If they just want like personal experiences coming from real people, they want to converse with them and go back and forth instead of just typing it on Chat GPT. Well, they can go to the Facebook groups where their ideal client or students are hanging out, and then they can ask people there, hey, what are your problems about gardening, for example? What are the things that you are having a hard time with in terms of gardening? And then from there, you would have a lot of ideas on what problem to solve because an online course is about problem solving, something that would sit there and collect dust. So we're trying to avoid that. Now, another thing is pre-selling. So with pre-selling, I created a live class where I had a lot of people that are wanting to create online courses just pre-sell their courses before they even create it. So I told them, do market research, dial down on one idea that you like the most from your market research, make a sales page out from it, sell that as if the course has already been done, and then sell that as a live class where you're going to be teaching them what you know about solving that very problem live. And then from there, you're able to validate if the online course actually works. And the best part about it is since you are doing a live class, unless someone pays, you don't really need to make the first lesson. If no one pays, it's okay. You can skip it. No one will ever know that you actually haven't done the live class. This is what I teach, and this is probably my favorite way of how to validate your course is that create a sales page about a topic that you would like to solve via a live class from the market research that you have done. Stick to it, sell it to people, your immediate following, right? Current Facebook account or Instagram following, and whoever is interested, unless someone buys, unless someone types in their credit card details or giving you cash, you don't need to make a single lesson. And my students are always surprised because they're like, oh my God, I was able to sell something that I haven't even done. And I'm just going to go in here, present, show up, talk about something that I'm passionate about. And then from there, I already have an online course. That's my first live class. So that's something that you can do. Next is the what I call the Cybertruck way. So remember Cybertrucks? Before they were ever made, Elon Musk actually asked for $100 refundable deposit that he's going to ask from people if they want to reserve a Cybertruck. So he asked for $100 refundable deposit so that he can use that very money as capital or whatever it is that he plans on doing. It also validates the fact that his crazy idea about this car that looks very weird. I'm just gonna say that. As an Elon Musk fan, this is a weird piece of metal. And then from there, he already knows that the Cybertruck is going to sell. And then he started mass producing it, selling it to people, and there goes the Cybertruck that you are seeing in the streets. Okay, so that's how you can validate your course idea. So from a course perspective, what you could do is ask for a refundable deposit. Let's just say $50, $100, and then collect that. And that's the only time that you're going to make the live class or you're going to start recording the videos of the course that you're going to make. Okay, let us go to step 2, folks. Step 2 is launch. Now, if you're already able to validate your course idea, you know that there is a demand, you were able to ask a refundable deposit, or even you're able to get full payment from the people that are interested in that very course. Good for you. Congratulations. Now, you would want to launch it and ideally create a really huge launch so that you would have a large influx of money coming in and you can just repeat the cycle. Now, people ask me, how do I launch my course? There is this thing that I call the lead in. This is not a marketing jargon. It's just something that I have coined because it just makes sense. So lead-ins are the activities that you're going to be creating on public so that people anticipate that you're going to launch something. So lead-ins can come in a lot of forms. It could be a challenge for the people that are interested, workshops, webinars, video trainings, all sorts of things. You can do giveaways, whatever, be creative. Now, if you want my opinion on what you should do as a lead-in, I would go for, of course, a webinar. And that is because this has worked for me multiple times. Of course, you have to set up your webinar in a way that it makes it sellable, entertaining, and of course, value adding. And then at the end of the webinar is where you're going to pitch. Same thing if you want a challenge, if you want a workshop or a video training, it is at the end that you're going to pitch your online course. Now, that webinar, workshop, or whatever lead in that you're going to choose, it has to be this huge, grand opening salvo. It has to be huge, as in like huge as it can be, as loud as you can possibly be in social media. So how do you do it? Maybe you're going to go on YouTube Live, Instagram Live, Facebook Live, or you're going to have a series of videos that you're going to post on social media for the next coming days in order to hype people up that something is actually coming. Now, there is also a lead-in of a lead-in, which what I call social media hyping. Now, with social media hype, the main goal for you here is just to really become visible AF. Now, why do I say so? Because in a lot of cases, people don't know you yet, right? Or in some cases, you're not really consistent in uploading content. And so 1 month before your launch date, you have to already be active in social media because something is coming. And you have to make yourself top of mind because people are distracted nowadays. And that is also why I called it a hype, because you're going to be so loud that people would have a hard time ignoring you. And that's where launches are high energy, oftentimes tiring for introvert people like me, but there's so much to learn on launches, like how you interact with people, how you sell one to many. That's super important. And so you would want to keep doing this until a lead in actually works. So I have done plenty of things like challenges, workshops, quizzes, webinars, video trainings, giveaways, all these things just because I wanted to see which of the lead-ins actually work for my audience. And for the longest time, I don't know why, but webinars really work well for me, and especially video trainings. Those are my top 2 lead-ins that I have proven and tested, done multiple times, that even if I go out there and do the same webinar over and over and over again, people are going to want to listen. And I have no idea why that is. Maybe because I've been doing it for a while and I know how to make people feel comfortable on video, what have you. Depends on your skill, depends on how your audience reacts and or how your audience responds when you do that very lead-in. And so people would always tell me, like, hey, I don't want to keep on launching anymore because I'm an introvert and it's just too high energy. But the thing is, if you haven't found a lead in that works well for you, you have to keep on doing that, right? If you haven't found a lead in that brings you consistent large cash injection every single time that you have launched, then by all means, you should not even automate anything. Okay, for the more advanced people out there. All right, so step 2, you're going to launch, choose a lead in, and then 1 month before the lead in or the launch, you're going to want to do a social media hype, just basically just about anything. Post anything about limiting beliefs, your activities as a person. The idea here is just to become super visible. Okay? Now, once you have that, I mentioned earlier that before you actually automate things, you would want to do repeat launches. Now, there was a time that I did a webinar 8 times in a row. And that doesn't even include the other lead-ins that I have done in the past, because I really wanted to test what lead-in actually works for me. And that's something that I highly, 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 highly encourage you to do, because I want you to figure out for yourself how your audience reacts, how you sell one to many in whichever lead-in works best for you, right? It really depends on the person, and there's so many lead-ins that you can do. It just anyway, this is just an overview. I'm going to go solid zoom in videos for each one of these steps so that we can dial it down and you would know more about it. Okay, so now once you already have launched the first time, so live class first and then launch for the first time, now you're going to be repeating the process and just launch over and over and over again. Now, when you do repeat launches, it's super important that you have a sustainable schedule. So launches are great because oftentimes when you have already cracked the code, you just want to launch every single month because it's a lot of money that you're going to get. But that's also one of my mistakes when I was still younger. It was just like launching every single month because like, what the fuck? I'm getting a lot of money from these launches. Why don't I do it every single time? But that's a good thing. But at the same time, you would want to continue doing this in a more sustainable way because you don't want to get burned out. At the same time, you don't want to get tired of launches already when you haven't learned the basics and the essentials in order to eventually automate. So that is why when you are creating a sustainable launch schedule, it's super easy if you have one offer. Sorry, I'm going to have to write that again. That looks horrible. So you should have one offer, right? And then if you have one offer, since there are 12 months in a year, you can probably do 3x per year or quarterly launches. Okay. Now, this is going to be a lot harder if you have multiple offers. The last would be like 3x. If you have 3 different courses, if you have 3 different offers, then amazing. You can do alternates every 4 months, if I'm not mistaken, if I got my math right. But if you have offers that are 4 offers above, then this is going to be super hard for you, right? 3 months, you're going to launch every 3 months. It's a lot of work. And so, yeah, might burn you out. Now, one of the examples that I love when it comes to sustainable launch schedules is the person that we call Marie Forleo. So if you are not familiar of her, she's the one that does Marie TV, was introduced on Oprah, you know, just like really huge. When people weren't doing podcasts, she was already like interviewing people and had podcasts way before it was cool. So she has been here for quite some time now. And I've known her ever since I started. I started 8 years ago. She has been there already huge 8 years ago. So her strategy is she has 2 offers. So offers 2x, and that's B School and Copy Cure. Now, what she does is she only launches this course 1 time per year, and then Copy Cure also 1 time per year. So she doesn't launch anything else in a year. Just Copy Cure, maybe B School, maybe January, if I'm not mistaken, and then Copy Cure around like November, October-ish, if I'm not mistaken. But that is a very sustainable schedule because she's super focused on her students the rest of the year. Just B School on January, And then from there, she can communicate to her students, doesn't get pressured with the launch. There's so much ample amount of time to do all these other things that she would like to do because she only has 2 offers and she focuses on them. That is why when a client comes to me and have like 17, 12 offers, I go crazy and sometimes I say, hey, I know I don't have control over your entire product suite, but 12 offers is crazy. Like, we need to reduce this so that we can put all our effort and energy on making this huge, scattered on just a few things rather than scattered on 12, 14 different places. Okay. So, there is that, you guys. Now, if I am your partner in your education business, I would definitely tell you to retire some and just only leave 2 or 3, like 3 maximum. Okay, like don't have multiple hours and this is just going crazy. What I do is I always have 3 offers maximum. I retire the rest. And you're probably asking me, like, are you sure that you're retiring the rest because you have like 9 offers? Ma'am, sir, I actually only have 3 signature offers. And even then, before I launch the second or the third one, the first one has already retired. Okay, so I don't like try to be ADHD. I try to focus my energy on just one product. And every single time that I do, like sometimes I also get ADHD and shiny object syndrome, but every single time that I try to focus on just one product, the amount of money that I make is really huge. And I love it. Okay. So I'm just giving you the possibilities over here. Anyway, so let's go to the 4th step. Preparation for automation. You are almost going to be automating, which is exciting because my students, most especially, they like the automation part because they always say it's an everyday touching experience. And I like that. It's cha-chings every day. But there are still a lot of foundation or things that you would want to do before you do so. And I require, I would say, 3 things before you automate. Number 1, like I mentioned earlier, a lead-in that works. And when I say works, I would go for capital WORK, because this means that you have tried and tested this lead-in multiple times, that you're just like, awesome, I'm getting a lot of money from this, and from the other lead-ins I'm not. And so I'm going to focus on doing this very lead-in every single time, and maybe have 2 options just to alternate them on your launches, just so you don't like go and do the same thing over and over again that people would find boring. And so I always have 2 lead-ins, like a workshop or a webinar or a challenge, right? Or sometimes I alternate. I would say a workshop, like a short one, like 1 to 2 day workshop, or just a 1 day 90-minute webinar. Okay. So those are some of the lead-ins that has worked for me, and so I keep on just alternating them, and I never try and reinvent the wheel every single time that I launch. So that is why it's super important that the number 1 requirement when you are planning to automate is a lead-in that works. And then the second one is I just mentioned an alternate lead-in. Okay, so you have your number 1 lead-in, and then you have your number 2 lead-in. The third one is a consistent lead gen that drives traffic to launches. So this is one of the mistakes of a lot of people, and this is what I call audience exhaustion or launch fatigue, because you're doing really good in launches, you already know what lead-in works. Now the problem is you're just launching to the same people over and over and over again. The problem is when you are done launching, you actually don't have a lead generation system that collects new people into your ecosystem. You should be driving people from outside your circle to inside your circle, so that when you launch, you have new people or new eyeballs looking at you doing your lead-in activity, right? Because what happens is if you don't have this, then your people are going to see the same offer over and over again, the lead-in over and over again, and so they already know what's up, right? And so you would like to invite new people in, cold audience into your ecosystem so that every single time you launch, you have new people to perform for. Alrighty? New people to buy. And of course, there are also some people that are just waiting for your next launches and next launches because they don't have, let's say, the budget for it, and that's okay. But you always have to have a consistent lead generation system, especially if it's not your launch month. So let's say, for example, you want to launch your course on June, and then from June 1 to June 30, you did a lot of launching. On July 1st, you should already have your lead generation system going to collect more leads in preparation for the next launch. Most especially if you have a launch schedule that is like 3 months apart, and so you only have, say, 2 months to even collect leads, right? So whatever lead generation system that works for you, you could do social media, dance on TikTok, whatever you think is comfortable or the best for you. My favorite is always paid ads. So I collect leads from Facebook or other paid advertising platforms so that every single time that I launch, I have new people to perform for. Now, once that's done, let's go to step 5, which is finally, Jesus, automation. Now, with automation, there are also different requirements because in this stage, you're going to want to do an evergreen funnel. Now, an evergreen funnel consists of a lot of things. And the first one here is the lead-in that worked for you during launch time or launch era. So what was that lead-in? Let's say the lead-in that worked for you was a webinar. Now, you should, I would say should, I don't care. So you should have tested this webinar multiple times. You already know how to run it. And now what you're going to do with this webinar is you're going to record this so that you have an asset that can turn on and off every single time someone wants to watch it. And this is where it becomes an automated webinar. So you don't need to present yourself every single time now. There's a software that you can purchase, which is very similar to my name. Name is Demio, that you can set up so that you can upload your lead in there, your favorite lead in, whatever that is, challenge, etc., automated webinar. Then upload that there as a video. People can watch it on demand. And then from there, you have a lead in, right? Or a launch, like a virtual launch that's going on behind the scenes, even without you always being on, which is great. And that is why a lot of people like automated funnels or automation, because it's just easy. It's like totally passive income, but there's still a lot of work that you need to do before you actually arrive to this one, or else it's just going to mess you up. It's not fun. It's not easy. Take it from me. I was trying to do it like multiple times in a row now. And you really have to have the basic foundation going before you actually get in here, because it's not easy. Okay, that's why I tell you, you should have a lead-in that has worked for you multiple times. You record that and make that automated. Now, apart from that, you would want multiple ad variations. And by multiple, I mean hundreds if you can. So this is the very first contact that you are going to have, especially with a cold audience. And people are so skeptical nowadays that you really need to bring them in with who you are, your personality, the uniqueness of you, and how good you are at teaching or at providing value to your people. So this is one of the things that makes it hard, because there is only a very few ads that can actually sing. And so you have to test multiple variations of it. And if you see something that's working, you need to immediately double down on that or make more of that kind of ad so that you can perpetuate the cycle of running ads. And then at the same time, you also need to have money in order to keep this running. Now, there are, of course, different ways in how you can perpetuate running ads by having unlimited cash flow, which is what they call a self-liquidating offer. I can record another video more about that very soon if you are tight in budget, but this is the business that we are in. We don't require a lot of capital to start, but in order to keep going, at some point, we really need a capital or just really base and full of money that we can use and we are okay of going bye-bye. And that's what ads are for. That's what advertising is. Wherever you go, whatever kind of advertising advertising you do, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, it really is a gamble. And so you would want to make sure that your mindset going into this game of automation, aside from being able to test what lead-ins work for you, you have to be mentally okay or mentally strong for ads, because they really are a lot like stocks. Sometimes they do well and sometimes they don't, but it doesn't really matter. You need that very tool in order to perpetuate your online course business, and so you have to be stronger for it. Okay, now let me give you a little bit of an overview. So there are a couple of ads that run direct to sale, and then there are also ads that run to a lead gen or a lead magnet rather, or a freebie. Now of course, people want shortcuts. They would want to run ads direct to sale right away, which is, I don't see anything wrong about it. It's just that when you are a newbie, when you are a person who's just starting out your online course, I would always say collect leads first, because right now you're making a name for yourself. You want your name to be known. You want to provide value to those people. And so even if it means that you have to have, like, again, a bucket full of money as a capital that you're okay to go bye-bye with, a newbie always starts with a lead magnet, not with a direct to sale. And of course, some other people were going to tell you that, hey, I was able to, run ads direct to sale and now I'm enjoying. Sure, awesome. But the challenge of running ads direct to sale is how good are you at selling right on first contact to be able to make that sale, whatever it is that you are selling to them and running ads to. If you are good at convincing, you're good at sales, you're good at talking in front of the camera, because I am not. Like, I am better at providing or at trust building. That's what I teach on YouTube, because this is what I'm good at. I love teaching. That's where I'm comfortable with. But with selling on ads, that's not my thing, right? And so I'm still, of course, developing that over the years, but I'm better at trust building than I am on selling. And if you think for a fact that you're good at capturing attention and at the same time, of course, selling right from the get-go in that very ad, good for you. Then you can definitely and confidently run ads direct to sale. But for me, I'm not really good at that. I can run ads, I can record videos, but sometimes they are not super effective as how other people are doing it. And so I would stay here where I am most comfortable with and where I am most effective, because then I know for a fact that I'm going to be able to make that money back, whatever it is that I put in that money bucket full of money, right, as a capital. So I'm going to gain people's trust. I don't have any problem with that. I love teaching. I love talking to you. And so I would put my effort or my energy there before I even ask for a sale. So it really depends on where you are right now, or what kind of confidence and skill you have in sales and marketing to be able to decipher whether you want direct to sale or lead gen. It doesn't really matter if you have a budget for that or not. Unfortunately, this is how the business world works. It works with your skill level. Of course, you can always say, hey, how about I run ads direct to sale and I just learn sales? Sure, why not? Good for you. Right? So it really depends on your skill level and how good you are, because the ads are the first thing that people come in contact with. And you're competing with a bajillion people in the universe. And so your ads, I just made an Australian accent there. Your ads have to be better than a lot of people. Okay? So there you have it, folks. Those are my 5 steps to launching your online course in 2026. I know it's a handful. I can make a separate video on automation and repeat launches and like all of those steps. I can dial it down for you, make a video for every single one. If you're watching this maybe like 6 months or 7 months later down the line, then I may have already those videos in my channel, so go ahead and check them out. But I'm very excited to be spending time with you. If you are an online course creator or a coach that's looking to scale, this channel is for you. Make sure you like and subscribe and watch the rest of the videos, because you don't know how much money you're going to make if you know exactly how to market your course. And I am a super advocate of the education world and the e-learning space, because I am a teacher by trade, and I know for a fact that some of us just like to teach. We want to skip the marketing, so I learned the marketing so you don't have to. Okay, so thank you so much for spending your time with me. Hope this video was helpful. I'll see you in the next one.